Welcome to Life Wisdom with Ed Langan, the place to come for practical and spiritual information to help you as you move forward along your path, and life wisdom from the guides. On this spiritual talk show, we talk about everything from self-love and creating your own reality to quantum physics and what your soul wants you to know. I'm your host, Ed Langan. I am a psychic channel for the Ascended Ones, the guides. They speak directly through me. I am a master life coach, a law of attraction expert, and a spiritual teacher. Other than that, I'm just a regular guy, whatever that might be. Today, my special guest is the host of Angelscapes, Nancy Smith. I'm going to interview her. We're going to have a really fun chat. I'm really excited about having her here. We're going to talk about her spiritual path. We're going to talk about her show, Angelscapes. We're going to talk about her spirit artwork, and we're going to talk about her mission to help others. The second part of the show, I will channel the guides to answer questions. You'll be able to ask the guides questions, and I'll go over more details with that as we get closer to that. I want you to remember, the more focused and the more powerful the question, the more focused and powerful the answer. Nancy will be staying with us for the Q&A, so if you have a specific question for Nancy, make sure you put that in the comments. I see Pauline is here already. Hi, Pauline. How are you? I'm glad you're here. I hope all is well across the pond. Thank you for everybody who is liking and sharing all of our shows on Star Nation. All of us here really appreciate that. A heartfelt thank you to you. Today is Big Thursday on Star Nation's. My show is now, and then at 7 o'clock tonight is Angel Therapy with Maureen Mann, and her special guest tonight is me. So I'm really excited about that. I'm doing 2 shows today. And then after Maureen's show at 8 o'clock, and this is all Eastern time, 7 o'clock Eastern time, 8 o'clock Eastern time, is Polly Joe's show. So I'm looking forward to that. Ann is here. Hi, Ann. How are you? I'm glad you're here. And good. I want to let everybody know that the November issue of Star Nations magazine is out. There's the cover. It was published on the 10th, so that is available to everybody. We'll make sure we get the link into the comments there so you guys can get that. And this is their 90th issue, so that's great. 1111, What's So Special? Diving into the Deep. Kindness for All Veterans. Looks like a wonderful episode, and that is the handle of a drum. So a hand drum, you would hold on to that there. And Neshi actually makes spirit drums. So I'm wondering if that's one she made. So while we wait for a couple more people to join us, I want to remind everybody that the meditation and prayer this month is going to be on Monday, November 23rd. And that is a meditation for peace, love, harmony, and healing. We ask that you sit for 10 minutes wherever you are and you hold that intuition. So it's from 7 till 7:10 Eastern time, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And if you can't make it then, if you meditate any time that day or the day before or the day after and hold the intention that your energy joins ours, it will join all together because time is not linear. Good. All right, I think we're good with the announcements or whatever you might call it. So I'm going to bring Nancy in. Marge will get Nancy here in a minute, and I will read you her bio. There's Nancy. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you? Thank you
Welcome.
for having me here.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm really excited to have you here. I know you do some really cool things, and some of it is that people can see behind you, and we're going to talk more about that. Before we do, I just want to read your bio so people know a little bit about you before we get started. So Nancy is an Akashic medium, author, and spiritual mentor. She is the author of the award-winning Divine Love Affair and Akashic Journey. As a spiritual mentor, Nancy helps her clients learn to listen to the voice of their soul so they can make creatively inspired choices in their own lives. Good. She offers transformational intensives to facilitate spiritual growth in her clients. Nancy works from her clients' Akashic records and connects with their spiritual team for life guidance and healing. As a medium and spirit artist, Nancy connects with loved ones who have passed to bring messages from spirit. Nancy draws faces of the communicators from spirit. That is just cool. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm as a fellow artist and love to do artwork. I'm excited, although I don't do that. So that's really, really cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you get started on your spiritual path?
All those years ago, right? So I had a couple segues. As a young kid, I think I was too intuitive and had no idea what was going on. And then a real sensitive kid. And then I think in my teens, 14, I got involved with what was called the Catholic Charismatic Renewal. Some people know about it, some people don't, but it was a kind of the Holy Spirit empowered, or I don't even remember what they call that, but I was able to feel spirit really closely inside of me and talk from the viewpoint of spirit and understand the viewpoint from spirit, learned about healing, hands-on healing, and learned about that mystical speaking in tongues, and learned about talking in spirit, which you call channeling the guides. Right. So I did that quite young, and then went to college and backed away from it, and until I became a mom. And then when your motherhood brings on a big dose of intuition, but since I already had a strong dose of intuition, which I really wasn't aware of or clued into, it just came on like boom, like like the door just swung wide open. Okay. And I was knowing things that other moms don't know this stuff. So and I had to come to terms. I had a sad situation where my daycare provider, her brother-in-law was shot and killed. Ooh. and I I sort of touched his stuff. I helped. Car was flatbedded over to the house. It was full of bullet holes. I'm hopefully not telling too bad of a story, but she asked me to help her clean out the car. So I was cleaning out all of this junk, and there is a principle of when you touch something, the information can flow into you. Right. And not only did the information of what happened to him flow into me, so did his spirit that survived after the passing. And I found that I was able to go to the site and know exactly where he was shot and where he died. I was able to draw his face. I drew everyone that he just saw, all their faces, and wow. And then I just listened to what he said, and I just wrote it all down. I had never heard of the word, spiritualism or mediumship. That was not something I really knew about. And so I got this whole big envelope full of stuff, and I said, I'm going insane, but do you recognize any of this? She recognized every single face that I drew. So it was phenomenal, and it was scary at the same time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's something like a superpower that I was looking for. But I learned to develop it. I learned to tame it, I guess, or train myself, or be in charge of it, as opposed to it being in charge of me. Right. I'd always had visions. I guess people call me a seer, or I guess I call it a seer.
Yeah.
Where the visions would just come over me. I've had that since I was young, since I was a little kid. And then I would just know a lot of information, or I would see something that was going to happen sometime in the future in the time. I still don't have really control over that. But when it does come, I try to pay attention. It's like this giant radio station in the sky, and it says, something's coming. And so I've had, I knew about 9/11. I knew about the Boston Marathon. Right. My ex-husbands saved both their lives because I had visions of what was going to happen in front of them. Wow. You would think that after you save somebody's life, they'd listen to you after that, but no.
Oh, it was just a coincidence. You got lucky.
Yeah, I told you go left, you went left, and then boom, it happened, and you're fine, but just a coincidence.
Yeah. Oh, well.
It's all right. It's fine. It's fine. Everyone's ready in their own time, in their own way.
Right.
The experience for me was to realize that to trust my visions, to trust my intuition.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, one of the things that we were talking about a little while ago was about free will. And, my guides are very, very strict about not taking away anybody's free will. And
right.
Even when we offer the information, the people still have a choice of whether they accept it or not, or believe it or not. You know, I know you do not want to insert yourself into anybody's life and say, this is, that's not you, so that would probably be part of why maybe they wouldn't listen to you, but it's still their path and still their learning and growing. So Lynn is here. Hi, Lynn. How are you? Margaret is here. Margaret, how are you? And I don't know if you can see the live chat on the side. People are popping in, so you can, feel free to say hello to anybody.
Hi, Lynn and Pauline and Margaret. This is Ann Donahue. Hi, Ann. Oh my gosh, I know some of these people. This is so cool.
Yeah, Ann is actually my sister.
Really?
Yes, that's my sister. And our friend Pauline is from across the pond, so she is listening to us.
Pauline.
Yes,
that's so cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. So they're all here. Good. Now you touched on it a little bit, and I'll let you drink your water there because you're gonna do. Oh, and Erin is here. Hi, Erin. How are you? You were very interested in mysticism. And that was something that you mentioned the Catholic mysticism was really where you started, but you've told me that you've studied many forms of mysticism. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. One of my favorite topics is about world religions, and I'm not an expert, but I am especially interested in the mystical connection to spirit that goes behind these world religions. Mm-hmm. And so basically, I've studied some Native American. I've studied some shamanic work up in Peru in the Quechua people, and amazing story. Then I've studied with some theta healing principles. Mm-hmm. And some of it is escaping me right now. But but what I loved is and I love the Norse tradition. I just read about it. I want to study with a Norse shaman would be amazing.
Cool.
But they have a lot of things in common, which is source.
Yes.
And then what source really is. God is source. And and that's fascinating. Been fascinating to me. And then being part of the spiritualist tradition, they talk about God as source. Right. And they spiritualism has gotten away from vicarious atonement into personal responsibility and having a personal relationship with God with nothing in between, which is what I love, absolutely adore.
Right.
And so that has spurred me into doing what it is that I'm doing now. And I think I mentioned this too, because when I was studying some of the traditions, the Native American traditions and the Quechua, which had their own cultures, and there were a lot of people, white people, I guess, mostly, who were disenfranchised or from what they had been raised and taught to believe. They were looking for their own mystical understanding. And but what's happening in a culture, I'm going to be really careful how I say this, but in a culture that's trying to find its own feet again, right. I felt that I needed to come forward with a voice from my culture that I was born into, so that I could facilitate those people that, I'm not just saying white people or anything like that, but American culture that comes from Northern European, that is, and I feel like we're trying to find our own feet again. There's so many changes going on, right. And we've been raised with so many belief systems that aren't holding water in a lot of ways.
Right.
But what do you do? I see that there's a lot of people going into, from the Catholic guilt and everything, going into a mystical or spiritual, let's just call it spiritual commune with source, feeling guilty or feeling less than or feeling disempowered. And this that needs to be addressed, because when people are empowered and really understand the amazing beings they are, they change. They recognize they're in the flow, and they of God, of the universe, and they recognize what isn't working and what is working, and it's beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. So that's why I love mysticism so much.
Cool.
Because it's the same thing under all the hoods of all the cars. Same thing.
Yes. Yeah. At the center of every religion, there's a truth. Otherwise, it wouldn't have caught on. So yeah, there is that connection. The other thing is, you were just basically talking about ascension, and you were talking about everybody waking up when this is the time of the waking up. And what we like to say is, some people wake up and they're happy, and they're morning people and they're joyful, and other people wake up like, and then other people wake up. So depending on how they wake up, but it's still the asking is such an important part of the ascension, because and I know that if someone's not asking, we can't teach them anything. There has to be that asking first.
Asking and curiosity with asking.
Yes.
I like to see people shift from I'm at a loss and I need somebody to tell me, as because I'm a reader, and then that's what I go to, and then shifting into the intensives or to the other work is the empowerment of, you're really not lost, but let me show you how to read the signposts. So that you can know them for themselves. I have seen, in what am I old enough to have seen many people go to cults or go to a guru who has all the answers. Nobody has all the answers. I don't care.
Right. Oh yeah.
You have the answers within yourself, and they lose themselves even more.
Right.
And that's something I really am sad to see.
Okay. But it's still part of their journey, and it's the part of the understanding of free will. They're looking for somebody to tell them. And the interesting thing about that is they say you shouldn't meet your heroes because eventually they'll disappoint you. So the same thing is true with the spiritual teacher or the guru. At some point, you're going to realize that's just another person.
Right.
And then all the wisdom and understanding is going to come in. So
and you sometimes, if you really have done your work, you become their teacher, which is very beautiful. Yes. I went through a ceremony once with one of in one of my shamanic trainings, becoming a Paco, they called it. And the ceremony was quietly going into the woods and releasing all of my teachers, all of my beliefs, and realizing that my teacher was my connection to source. And that was owning my own divinity and my own power. And that was tears. That was like, holy cow, and it was amazing.
Big moment.
Yeah. So I teach a lot about integration. I think we talked about, I'm just going to blab on. I teach integration a lot. That's my whole focus on what I do, which is I organize, who knows how things really work, but how I organize it is I feel like we have 3 levels of consciousness. One is our heart, is our aware self. And then it's like a tree. And then in the roots of the tree, in the lower chakras in our feet, is our connection to Mother Earth. That's also our unconscious self, where we have all the rules and tips and tricks on how to stay alive in the human body. So we all talk about, a lot of us people talk about we're spiritual beings having a human experience. But if we blow the human experience, we blow the whole life. So we need that ego. We need that wisdom. And then there's the spirit and the soul that comes through the leaves of the big branches of the trees. And it's our heart, it's our awareness that is meant to integrate above and below, so that the wisdom that comes from high above and the wisdom that comes from being human integrate together. So one is not lost with the other. And I've really come to understand that our soul and our spirit want to know how we feel as human beings. What is the pain, or what are the belief systems that we developed from trauma, and where do we go with that? This is a huge learning for them. That's why they have developed this amazing process of being human. And I feel that sometimes I've run into people on a spiritual path. This is, I don't think it's so much true anymore, but back in the 80s, was that you strive to let go of your ego and to become more spiritual.
Right.
And the ascension process, and I think we've talked about this, and I've heard you talk about it too, is really about integrating that unconscious self with the higher consciousness so that they're aligned.
Right.
And then you create heaven on earth that way. It's never what you think it is either. You gotta.
That's true. It's true. Yes.
So that's why I love doing what I'm doing, and I never ever see myself as being any kind of ascended being or any kind of master. I'm just bumbling along with trying to learn to integrate.
Cool. Well, I have recently come into the understanding that because I was also very much of the mind that the job was to melt the ego, and the symbol that we see most often is the yin and the yang. And it's both the light and the dark. It's both sides. And my latest spiritual understanding, which you are echoing here, is that it's an integration of both.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm only going to use the right side of my brain. I'm not going to use the left side of my brain. Or I'm only going to use the left side of my brain. I'm not going to use the right side of my brain. Well, that's, there is light and dark in everything. And it's a matter of integrating the both, not just trying to get rid of one half of it.
Right.
That's pretty much what you're saying.
Right. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, I really kind of came to really hit home with understanding the power of the darkness and why we need the darkness is in one of meditation, life starts in the womb and there's never any light in the womb. It starts in darkness.
Yeah.
And so if life is starting in darkness, then who are we to chase it away? Yeah. We won't have that gestation time.
That makes sense.
Wow. And I was like, oh, don't be afraid of the dark anymore.
Yeah. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah. Cool. I want to make sure we get to this. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but I want to make sure we get to this. I want to talk about your artwork, your spirit.
Oh, good.
Because, yeah. We're teasing the people. There's some of it behind you. And so I want to talk about that. So tell us a little bit about your process and what happens. And then you can turn your computer a little bit.
So I'm going to make you a little dizzy. I'm going to turn the computer first. I'm going to start with this fellow here. Has been looking over my shoulder, and this is a portrait of somebody who passed to the other side. I did it in a service, a UK service. It was very awesome, and brought in a message. He brought in a message, and then I was able to capture his face. In mediumship, the most important part that we do is to show people that life continues on. There is a continuity of life. So when I draw and I can capture a likeness, it's not a Kodak moment by any means. It shows people, oh, I can see it. And it's very, very cool, very much fun. I have on my Nancy at Angelscapes.net, the website is on the thing.
Yep.
I have a page where I have lots of drawings there and stories about what happened, and what people said. And it's really interesting to see the reactions that people have. Some people are excited to see this. Some people are not so sure about it. And but there's oftentimes a message that comes through just in the way the face comes, that kind of thing. So that, and how I do it is through mediumship connection. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'll do a double link. Another medium will bring in the communicator, and then I will link into that communicator at the same time. So it's really kind of cool when a medium's talking about it, and then I'm drawing the same person.
Cool.
But I can do both. I do in my readings, I will connect first and you'll recognize who it is that's coming, and then I start to draw.
Cool. Cool.
And I don't see their faces until I see them on the paper. It's automatic.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
So
I start
precipitated.
Yeah. Well, no, I have to put the pencil on the paper. But when
but I mean,
because when I first started, the images would just come up from the paper. I could see shadows. I could see the shapes of the faces, like they were training me. And then later on, I just saw the faces clairvoyantly. And then later on, they said, "No, you just pick up the pencil and start going." I said, "Well, where do I start?" And so they start over here. I said, "How big's the forehead? And where's the chin like?" And so I try to listen to what they're saying. And I am trained as an artist. I am, I did fine arts training. So don't anybody think, so Spirit has showed me how to draw using the skills that I had, but I had to break a lot of bad habits. So, my first my drawings were terrible. They were horrible as the blending of Spirit and I were working. So I'm like, I can't believe I drew some of the stuff I did. But it's getting better. So,
I think that's terrific. That's a great portrait.
But thank you. But I mean, I'm just saying, if anyone's going to get started, the blending between you and Spirit and your ability is just give it time.
Right.
It's worth it. It's worth
right.
it. So on the other side, I mean.
Yes, I want to interject a quick story. I was at one of Liam's circles, and a woman there was inspired to draw, and she was sitting a couple of people down from me, and she turned the paper and didn't even say anything, and I turned to her and said, "That's my brother." And she was amazed. She's like, "You're kidding." I go, "Nope, that's my brother." And then Liam said, "Yeah, that's absolutely Kenny." So hopefully we sort of pushed her on the path to continue to do that. She said that was the first time she ever did it. She always wanted to, and so it was cool. Good. So I'm sorry. Please continue with your beautiful artwork.
Oh, so on this side, no, I'm going this way.
Okay.
It's like it's all backwards. I'm like dyslexic
Yes,
already. So in this piece of artwork, when I first started to do my my intuitive readings, I've always been very clairvoyant. I'm a visual person, visual artist, and I was seeing the images that people needed to see, what their soul and their guides wanted them to see, so that I could teach from the colors and the shapes, and they were very fast and sketchy, and I loved doing them. And then I developed some pastel techniques to really bring the message, into a nice, beautiful piece that they could keep. And these take a little bit of time to do, but in any event, I'm going back to that because
Cool.
I feel like the soul is really speaking through visual images and colors and things like that. And I love drawing the faces, improving the continuity of life, but I really, really miss when, and one reading, for instance, I was years and years ago, because when I got into the spiritualism and the mediumship, it was all faces. But anyway, I was sitting there with her, and I kept seeing these, this is a long time ago, before cell phones. So I was seeing the phone lines, and they were all on fire. Huh. And so I said, she moved in with her boyfriend, things were lovely, she did her job, everything was nice. And I said, but why are the telephone lines on fire? And I was drawing the flames. I said, you're talking to somebody far, far away. And she burst into tears. Well, she's actually had made her life perfect. But until I said, she has a long distance relationship, she really loves somebody else.
Oh.
And she was keeping it even a secret from herself. And when I drew the telephone poles and the line, she's like, yes. So those were the kind of images that were coming through to show people that we see you, we hear you, we know what you're doing, and we love you. We love you. Yeah, be happy. So in my drawings, I work sometimes with this animal totem work here, and sometimes I work with whatever spirit brings me. To be honest with you, I don't know what they're going to bring me, so I don't have I'm going to draw your animal unless you ask me who's my animal totems. I could totally do that. But in this case, was a beautiful drawing for somebody who had lost their partner. And so the dragonfly was about both sides of the veil, mm-hmm. and then the swan was about really learning to love herself as her partner, but also to remember her partner was in spirit, and that kind of thing. So the three mountains were wisdom. Yeah, the grief is a journey upward. And sometimes it feels like you have to go to mountains beyond mountains to get to where you need to get to. But it's doable, and you're loved. And that was the meaning of that drawing.
Cool. And that's a beautiful piece of artwork, too. That's cool.
Oh, thanks.
And Lynn is saying, I love the picture of the swan and the dragonfly. So thank you, Lynn. I agree.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you.
Beautiful artwork.
Yeah.
And, Martina is here also, and Maura is here. Welcome to all. So throughout the show, all of Nancy's information has been posted. We'll also make sure that it's in the comments. So if you guys do want to work, there's angelscapes.net there. If you guys do want to work with Nancy and have her make some of this beautiful artwork for you, or have a reading or anything like that, all of that information will certainly be available. I'm inspired. I love the artwork. I wish I had more time to do my artwork, but I can definitely enjoy yours. So we're gonna shift just a tiny bit here, because you said something, and I have heard this, and I haven't heard many other teachers say this, and I'm in agreement with you. So I want you. You said to the other day when we were talking that you have a slightly different take on spirit and soul.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I find again, it's an organizational principle that I have. Mm-hmm. And I feel that our spirit are very much in connection to our physical body. It's our spirit, it's our personality, and it's blending in with, it's the self-love. It's the beauty part of ourselves. And that I feel like our soul dreams our spirit into being along with our body and all the things energetic you're going to have in your body. And the soul is what connects to source.
Right.
So I see it as source, soul, spirit. Mm-hmm. So when I hear people intermix spirit and soul, I sometimes see them painting themselves into a corner of what does that mean? I feel we want to have more and more of our soul's awareness within ourselves. But remember I said our heart is between our unconscious physical body and our higher selves,
Right.
I feel like I could almost say our spirit is between heaven and earth, and our soul. Our spirit is between our human body and our soul. And it's not in the way of it, but it's like, think of it, a big funnel, lots of light coming down to a teeny tiny pinpoint, and we're the pinpoint.
Right.
And our spirit holds us there.
Yep.
And that's how, I mean, it's helps me to organize when I'm thinking about something and when I'm reading for somebody, because I feel like the soul can also contain all the lifetimes it's ever had.
Right.
Where the spirit is very, very individual. And in spiritualism, we talk about the survival of the spirit after it passes. And I feel that there is some kind of promise or some kind of commitment from soul and source that if we've had a life, we're keeping our life for as long, and our individuality for as long as we want to. I almost sometimes feel like, I'm going really far here, that our spirits can develop to a point where they become their own souls.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
I mean, it's a lot of growth on the other side.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of development. We don't really know all the stuff that there is, but that's kind of where I'm going with that.
So people who have followed me and know me that I'm very much with Abraham, who is channeled through Esther Hicks, and I have heard Abraham say things like that. Abraham says the larger non-physical part of you stays non-physical, and you're a focused part of that into your body. So that would be the difference between the soul and the spirit. And they always say that the larger non-physical part. And then through some of the other things I've studied, there's what they refer to as an oversoul, and then the oversoul splits into multiple focused points, and then because the universe is always expanding. So Abraham has said your inner being has an inner being, has an inner being, has an inner being, which would indicate those types of things. So I think Nancy popped off for a second. Hopefully she'll be right back on. I hope everybody is enjoying this. This is some really wonderful information that I'm enjoying. I'm loving seeing her artwork and understanding how her process is and how everything works. And hopefully she'll be able to log back in. I didn't think she was going to bounce out. So technology is our friend. Sometimes that happens. So hopefully she will be right back. So that's what's going on. While we're waiting, I will remind everybody that all of her contact information is going through here, and we will put it in the comments so that you can connect with her if you're interested. And she is going to, hopefully she'll get back on. She is going to stick around for the Q&A for the readings at the end. And there you are. All right, good. Yeah, you made it back. That's
made it back. Yeah,
not a problem. All right. So one of the things that I've heard you say is that you help people ground in their divinity. And that's similar to something that I say. So I would like to understand, what do you mean by that?
Well, yeah. So I know, right? What do I mean by that? So I feel like it's about, again, that integration aspect of you as a sacred being, and everything, even the hangnails that you've experienced, are sacred and important. And when we accept ourselves as we are, we ground, and that we're sacred beings at the same time. That's what I mean. We're grounding ourselves in we're divine and we're human, and they're not separate. And that's what I mean by grounding into your divine self. That's kind of what you say. I don't know.
Yes, it is. Well, okay. So what I say is people ask me all the time, what's my purpose? And I say, your purpose is to remember your divinity, which means to remember that you're on your way back to. So my favorite quote is, we're all here walking each other home. And
I love that.
Yes, it's one of the. I think I'm mixing that up with something else, so I'm not going to say who the quote is, but it's one of my favorite quotes. We're all here walking each other home. And essentially what we're doing is we're remembering that the spark of God is inside of us. So I ask people, do you do yoga? And some say yes, some say no. And I said, what do you think namaste means? It means the spirit in me salutes the spirit in you, God in me. So So when you had mentioned the divinity, I picked up on that. So that was good.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So this is a little bit of a harder question. Maybe not.
Okay.
What do you do when your path gets challenging? Because we all have challenges. We all have moments.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we do. And I have to say that what do I do when my path gets challenging? And right now, for me, COVID, I find it as a personal challenge. It ever since it started, it's been a struggle. So I want to start right there with being human. And so what am I doing with this is meditating, writing, admitting how I feel, knowing that that I am surrounded by my spirit, my soul, staying in that soul power. I think in the past since March, I've had my most powerful connections and meditations.
Wow.
Because of that. I'm not sure why I'm such a chicken about the whole thing, but I am. And I don't like being, maybe it's because I'm a Sagittarius, because I don't like being constricted. You have to stay home. Well, I'll stay home if I wanted, but don't tell me. I'll freak out.
Yeah. You're a rebel.
I'm a rebel, but I'm also, So, and anyway, it's brought out some shadow stuff. And I have to say, I don't like it one darn bit, but I am grateful to look at this shadow part, because if everything was just motoring along as it should have been, I wouldn't have looked at these shadows this way and healed them. So again, so I started doing this little trick. Years ago, somebody told me how to bend a spoon, and I never got. It's hard. It's really hard. And I decided that I was not sure if I was leaving the path of connecting with power source. So I said to myself, I am going to test by bending a spoon and doing certain meditations to see how close I am. Am I really with spirit or not? I wasn't trying to prove that I'm special, but son of a gun, I think I've bent about 6 spoons.
Wow.
And so as I was struggling with what was around me, just by bending those spoons, I said, but look what's inside of me. Look at when I connect with source, what I'm able to do. And that was really just what I wanted to know. Yeah. And so that's my best answer. Stay with the power of your soul, of source in your humanity, and bend some spoons. But I mean, see the power within yourself, and that will clearly show you the illusion, and kind of break away the illusion, and then not. I mean, everything's an illusion. Everything is something that we've made, but we're living in it. We're all in agreement that we have COVID right now. We're all in agreement with that right now.
Right.
So we're not going to change that agreement until whatever work needs to be done is done. So why not just get into source and do the work? And if we all do the work together, the outcome will be a different outcome. I don't know what it will be, but it will be, maybe this is going to last forever, maybe not, kind of thing. So I hope that helps clear.
Oh yeah, that was a wonderful answer, and the pardon my humor here, but I've bent spoons too, mostly trying to get ice cream out.
I like bending them that way better than any other way.
That's usually how I bend spoons. Don't tell Marge, she's listening. Yeah. The cat's out of the bag here. But
I don't know. Is that what happened to all those spoons? Yeah. You should tell her my story, and then
right. Yeah. The part of that just really resonated was to admit how you feel. You know, and being a guy, sometimes that's a problem, but I've talked to lots of people who have problems who have, I'm the mom, I have to keep going. I have to, or I'm the this, I'm the that. And in the long run, I think that just makes it worse. So you do have to sort of admit how you're feeling. And you mentioned that was one of the first things you said was, I don't like this. I don't like that. And you're admitting how you feel, because then you have a place to work from. Right. If you're not admitting how you feel, you're it's like the woman you said with the burning telephone wires who was lying to herself about how she really felt. So that was wonderful. Right. That was good.
Yeah.
Did you have any aha moments along your path that sort of made you rethink how you do things?
Lots. Lots. I have to say, the saddest one was when I first started. My kids were little, and I met with Spirit, the man that passed away, and then I met my own spirit, and then I remembered my own power from when I was a teenager, and that was, and then I started to see my life for what it was, and I realized that I was in the wrong marriage with two small kids, and I had to make some decisions, and I didn't want to make those decisions at all. What woman with two small kids? And I loved everyone very dearly, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about anybody.
Sure.
But what I'm trying to say is when we're in the wrong relationship at the wrong time with the wrong person, I mean, I know my kids are meant to be here, and I know I was meant to be their mother, and he was meant to be their father, but we were not meant to stay together.
Sure.
And understanding that from a soul spiritual level was very difficult.
Yeah.
And I was pretty aggravated. I'm a reluctant empath. I went through this thing kicking the whole way, but my life is very rich and very filled. And there were, that was yucky, but it was a better choice, and we were both of us were much happier, making that choice from a spiritual and a soul point of view. Right. Common sense said this is a bad decision, but spirit and soul said you can't do this anymore.
Right.
So.
Yep, I understand. Now, I had a friend on the show a while back. Some of you might remember this, and she talked about her failed marriage. And the guides immediately jumped into me and said, "There's no such thing as a failed marriage."
Oh, nice.
Yes, because what the human point of view is about time and about you're supposed to stay together forever, etc. And spirit doesn't care about any of that. Spirit is, for this amount of time, you guys are together to do this work together. And once that work is complete, then that is still a successful relationship. I mean, you have two beautiful children, and I know you have grandkids now too.
Yeah.
And that was the point that I made to this other woman. She has 5 beautiful kids, etc. So there's no such thing as a failed relationship. So that's another way to work to understand that.
So Ed, I kind of want to throw something back at you.
Sure.
Soulmates.
Yes.
Soulmates.
Yes.
And people say, when is my soulmate coming? Because I just divorced this man, it was awful, or this woman, it was awful. And I said, well, that was your soulmate.
Right.
Because that was the person you were meant to learn all this stuff from.
Yes.
So I said, how about we pray for and ask for your best partner that'll make you happiest ever? Instead of soulmate. So do you understand what I'm saying? Because people go, what are you talking about? Soulmates are perfect.
No. That's Disney. That's Disney and Hallmark. That's not reality. Yeah. So when people ask me that, I say the purpose of your soulmate is to move your soul forward. And anybody who moves your soul forward might be the biggest pain in the ass you ever met. Because the growth is getting into your stuff, is getting triggered, is allowing the darkness to come up and to be brought to light. Right. And if everybody is in Disneyland and Hallmark and everything is roses and everything, I say we don't learn from when everything's perfect. We learn from the mess. We learn from the challenge. Now, that doesn't mean I like that. Right. but that's part of it. So, and the other thing is I say, and how many soulmates do you get? And the answer is lots and lots and lots of them all the time. Anybody who helps move your soul forward is your soulmate.
Right. So, we go with the idea of monogamy and the swans who mate for life. Right. But that's not who we are as humans. No. I'm not talking about cheating and being frivolous with a marital commitment, but I'm talking about sometimes in a relationship has to it's finished its course.
Yes. And it's not a failure. Everybody learned what they needed to learn, the energy, the shifting, the understanding, the growth, the soulmate. And that's what the purpose was. I refer to those, and you might be able to talk about this, is agreements we made with people before we got here.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to help you do that, because these are the things that you want to work on.
I call those soul appointments.
Yeah.
You had that person that your really yucky boss was a soul
Yeah.
appointment.
Yeah. I
Because
agree.
it learned you how to stand on your 2 feet and say what you got to say, and it learned for you taught you how to leave a job, and
Absolutely.
yes, that
Yeah.
what all those things.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the things I think we both do is we help people to integrate those experiences instead of leaving them as traumas,
Yes.
to turn the trauma into wisdom and empower the person.
Exactly.
With you're on target, you're on point, you did everything fine.
Yes. Well, I love that. That's great.
Oh, thanks.
Excellent. Good. We're going to do some answering for the guides in a couple minutes, but before we do, I want you to talk to me about Angelscapes, your radio show. Tell the folks about it. Tell them, how to connect with it, etc.
Well, Angelscapes is an hour-long radio show. It's on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. You can get it through my Facebook page, either Nancy of Angelscapes or Angelscapes with Nancy Smith, and it's on boldbravemedia.com. So it's a internet-based radio station. So you can go through boldbravemedia.com Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Look for channel 100. It's a lot of information to remember, but it's on. If you could just remember, go to the Facebook page. It's there.
Right. Yeah. Get to Nancy's Facebook page.
I'm trying to remember I'm trying to figure out all the different best ways to get to people. But you could always message me and say, "Can you remind me on Tuesday night?" Just message me and tell me, and I'll be happy to do that.
Right.
I have a little list.
Posted it in the comments at
exactly.
boldbravemedia.com. And so it's a radio show, and it's a great radio show, he said humbly after being a guest on there.
You're the best guest. I love to have you. I got more people calling me saying, "I like that Ed guy. Is it coming back?" It's very cool.
It was fun. Yeah. So basically, you interview people, you teach, do you have a formula, or you know what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah. So what I try to do, and I'm a seat in my pants, but I interview people who are going to support soul power living and empowering yourself from your soul. I do different soul power living. If you go on my website, angelscapes.net, you'll see a little book that says 7 Steps to Soul Power Living. You can click on it and get a whole bunch of information, PDF and all that. And it talks about the theory of the radio show, which is about empowering yourself with tools so you can live the life you want and love. And then sometimes I really like to have shows where it's just readings, where people just call in and I just read for them. So those are bonus shows. And if you really, really can't wait for me to do that, send me a message and I'll make a special show. I just get 5 people who really want it, and I'm like, I'm on it. We'll do it.
Okay, that's great. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, that was fun. I really enjoyed being on your show and talking with you. That was great. So what we're going to do now is we're going to, if you're ready, are you ready to do a couple quick readings? And again, we're just short and quick. We're going to answer some questions for the folks, and you guys know about that. And here's our little guidelines for the guides. My guides, speaking about me, can be very direct and very blunt at times, but it always comes from a place of love. The more focused and more powerful the questions, the more focused and powerful the answers from the guides. Sometimes my voice changes. You will always have free will. They will not take away your free will. The guides will give you what you need, not necessarily what you want. And good. So I think we're good. So let's see if Marjorie has any. Okay, Margaret Spooner has a question right here. I feel there is a next step to help me blending conscious and unconscious for more clarity, but not sure which direction to go. Not sure if part of the unsureness is a block or is from a past life. So, Margaret, the first thing that I'm just getting really, really quick that's coming right off the top is that you should make an appointment with Nancy. That's the first thing that I'm getting. I don't feel like it's a past life block or anything like that. I think it's I don't want to say a redirect, but it's like your path is going to go. So you're going to go in a new direction. You're going to learn some new things. You're going to experience some new things that are going to shift your consciousness and your understanding. And it is not a coincidence that you're asking now and that Nancy happens to be here. So my feeling is that that's a good next step for you. So Nancy, are you picking anything up?
Yeah, I feel there's a resistance there when you're not sure blending conscious into unconscious conscious is sometimes we need to get permission from those, from the ego part of ourselves to say this, we're okay. And so, so the block you may be feeling is just, you need to give yourself permission to release the resistance. And you will feel great with the blending, and that's how you know that you're doing it. You'll feel a good sense of well-being. And if you are still in a place of not well-being, then there's a little tweaking to be done.
Cool. Perfect. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. Excellent.
Margaret, thank you.
Pauline, I would like to ask a guides about my spiritual work. I am sure what I'm supposed to be doing with it. Okay. So I am in the process of rebranding my website, and I know that I have to write a whole bunch of emails and I have to write a whole bunch of copy. And I've been sort of, come on. And I've been at the guide saying, come on. And they're saying, just relax, Ed, just relax. We got this. And then today, some new inspiration popped in, and they're like, this is why you weren't ready to hear it till right now. Here's the information. Here's what you're, so the speed of it is sort of up to them. And we do feel like you're going to have some breakthroughs very soon, but trust that it's okay. Trust that you're right on track. Focus on things that raise your vibration. So look for things to appreciate. If you have music that you like to listen to that makes you happy and makes you feel good, do that. Do some meditation. Continue to raise your vibration and allow the inspiration to come at divine timing instead of our timing. We don't feel like you're stuck or anything to that. We just feel like it's just not quite time yet, but it will be soon. So good. Are you picking anything up for Pauline?
Yeah, I really love what you said. I feel like she's growing into her new shoes. And when we go to shoulds and supposed tos, we can derail ourselves from the growth we need to do. So relax. It's exactly what he said.
Good. And Pauline, I don't know if you've heard us say this before. We say don't should on yourself, right? Should is someone wagging their finger at you. So don't do that. All right, we'll see what else. Okay, Lynn. I have found this entire year with COVID, the state of the human distress in the country, the isolation from my work contacts to be total human life questioning experience and purpose. Do I really have all of these soul appointments? Well, this is an interesting year in so many ways. And one of the things that the guides keep reminding me is they say that clear vision is 20/20. And then they also say that hindsight is 20/20. So this is a big year. It's a big turning point. It's a big shifting. It's a big changing in how our consciousness is. It's part of the ascension, part of the awakening, part of all of that. And we don't have to like it, but we want to not fight against it and understand that in the bigger picture. Remember earlier we said that you don't learn and you don't grow from everything being fine, everything being smooth, that there needs to be some bumps, there needs to be some mess, there needs to be some things to work through. Well, this is part of it. And there's a lot of people who aren't enjoying this, and there's a lot of people who are struggling, but our focus is we still have the ability, as we were telling Pauline, to focus on things that make us feel good, to play some music that brings us joy, to play with our pets, to be thankful for Zoom, be thankful for Be Live TV, be thankful for radio shows like Nancy, and do things to keep raising your vibration so that as things open up and as things shift, you're in a higher place and you're in a better place, and that will help you continue to move forward. So good. We're gonna leave it there. Do you have anything you wanted to add to that, Nancy?
What I want to add is a little encouragement. Do I really have all these soul appointments? And I have to say, we all have this huge soul appointment together. So Lynn, when you stay in the game, you're helping everyone around you. And so I want to encourage you to stay in the game because there's people that you don't even know that are relying on you and loving you. So hang in there.
Yes. It's the pebble in the pond and the ripples, and you don't know who that's going to touch. So yes, absolutely. Good. And Maura, my question is, do I utilize my publishing company by investing in marketing the journal book I am working on? We would be cautious about that. We're not getting a hard no, but we're saying put a cap on it. So say that I'm going to spend X amount of dollars, and then when I've spent that much money, whatever happens, happens, and I'm not going to spend any more. And we've talked to you about this before. We would see the book being success in your mind. We would use our energy and our focus and the law of attraction to send that energy out rather than trying to do the how of it. We would do it from seeing the vision, seeing all these wonderful people reading your book, seeing some of the people hugging your book that they love it so much, and seeing it be successful that way, and send that energy out first rather than focusing on the how do I do this. You can do some work through your publishing company, but as we said, decide how much money you want to spend and do not spend any more than that, regardless of the results. And that's the way we would approach it. So are you picking up anything, Nancy?
I just, the journal book, I just am getting, when I feel the energy around this journal book, it's not fully developed in how you're meant to use it. I feel like it's a tool, and there's some more information coming around what this journal book is meant to do. I think there's going to be a little tiny reformatting, and I feel like, I don't know if you teach at all or do workshops at all. I just want to take another look at this journal book before you pour a ton of money into it.
Good. Excellent. Thank you, Maura. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Maura.
Good.
Thank you.
All right. Aaron, how are you? I have a question. I've been working on abundance a lot these past few months and made some significant progress.
Nice.
I feel like it suddenly stopped. Where are my blocks, and how do I get back into the flow and up level? So thank you, Aaron. It's a wonderful question, and I'm glad to hear that you're having success and you're doing well. The energy has shifted as we've come into the past few months here, or very recently, the energy has shifted. So instead of focusing on what is and what the results are, continue to do what's working, knowing that it will continue to work because it's worked before. It'll continue to work, and not one of the things when people are attracting and creating is if you focus too much on what is, then your energy goes to what is. So as you focus on the things that are working and have been working, and again, raising your vibration, looking for things to appreciate, and that will turn it back on and get it going again. But we want you to know that it's not you. It's been the energy of whatever time, whatever, a lot of people are experiencing a little bit of a fall off on the money, but it will pick back up. So continue to do what you've been doing and working, and know in your heart, because you've already done it, that it's going to work, and just trust that. Good.
Yeah. I just want to say, remember to feel your feelings. And this is a many-layered thing. So if you feel like you're going backwards, you didn't go backwards. You're just up-leveled yourself. Mm-hmm. So feel those feelings and remember to, how am I going to feel when I get to where I want to get to? And keep that dream going, keep that feeling going. Ed talks about this all the time. I've learned so much from Ed on that. Don't forget the vision and the feelings that you will feel, and it's going to be okay.
Good. Excellent. That was fantastic what you just said, because I have experienced that, where you up level and you feel like you went backwards because you feel like, oh, okay, wait a minute. That I love that. That's brilliant. That's just energetically, that just went boing.
Yeah. Thank you, guides. Thank you. Yeah.
that was really, really good. And Debbie is here. Hi, Debbie. How are you? I would appreciate any guidance you can give me about my business next year. And it's interesting how the questions get grouped together. So Debbie, it's the same thing. Hold your focus on what you want to create, not what is, and see feel and connect with the vision of if it's happy clients, then see the happy clients. If it's in Mara's case, having lots of people purchase her book, then see people with her book. If it Erin's case, where there's financial abundance flowing in, focus on the way you want it to be instead of what it is. At the beginning of next year, the energy is going to start to shift. Things are going to start to change. Things are going to open up more. So there's always hope. Reach for hope. But again, raise your vibration, keep your vibration high, and know that, that's interesting. You're going to do, a lot of people right now, including myself, are going through sort of a remarketing and a reshift and a refocus in your business. You are going to be guided to do some of that too as you move forward along your path, and you will know it. It won't be like, it'll be clear to you. So we do feel that coming for you. So hopefully that made sense.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Did you have?
Just two things. Flexibility and creativity are your key here, and then keeping yourself clear. Away from this is the form it has to take.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good. So we are at time. Remember, I told you it was the fastest hour of your life.
Yeah.
This goes by so fast. It's amazing. I want to thank you for being here. And
thank you.
Wonderful. There was some great information, and we took thoughts into some new places, which was a lot of fun. There's all kinds of thank yous being put into the comments here. Everybody's saying thank you to all of you. Thank you for Nancy for being a wonderful
person. And thank you, Ed. Thank you.
And plan at some point next year you're going to be back. So just keep that in mind. And all the information is in the post, and it's been on there, so you know how to get in touch with Nancy, and you can find her. Check out her show, Angelscapes, on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Go to her website to find out how to link in.
Facebook page is the best way. Go to the Facebook page.
Facebook page. And I think we're good. I want to thank Marge for doing a wonderful job again, flying the plane. And if everybody wants to say hello and thank Marge, that would be great. You could say that. Marge does so much. Yeah. Thank you to Neshi and everybody at Star Nations. And thank you again, Nancy, and all of you, everybody who watches and puts in with comments and everything else. We do this work for you guys. Next month, my guest will be Britt Kreitman, and she is the Well-Balanced Witch. And this is a really interesting show. It's going to be cool. She's business and spiritual at the same time, which is really, really cool. So I'm excited about that. I promise Nancy will be back at some point. And you all know what I'm going to say here. The guides want you to know that you're worthy. Light and love, guys. We'll see you next month. Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.